The silver hull of the massive alien vessel cast an ominous shadow over Seoul's gleaming skyscrapers, its presence turning day into an artificial twilight. The ship stretched nearly 2 kilometers across, its surface adorned with pulsing blue lights that seemed to follow no discernible pattern. In the streets below, millions of citizens stood frozen, their necks craned upward at the impossible sight above them. Commander Han gripped the edge of his desk in the UN Security Council chamber, his knuckles white with tension. The emergency meeting had been called within minutes of the vessel's appearance, and representatives from every major nation sat in stunned silence. The massive view screen at the front of the room displayed real-time footage of the alien ship, its presence a stark reminder that humanity was no longer alone. General Dewey, his military uniform crisp despite the early morning rush to the council chamber, stepped forward. His face remained impassive, but those who knew him well could see the slight tremor in his hands as he prepared to address the first confirmed alien contact in human history. "We must respond to their hail," Dewey announced, his voice steady despite the circumstances. "Whatever their intentions, silence will only make things worse." The council chamber erupted in overlapping voices, some calling for immediate military response, others advocating for peaceful contact. The Chinese representative was arguing with her American counterpart about jurisdiction when the decision was taken out of their hands. The view screen flickered, and the footage of the ship was replaced by something far more unsettling. A face appeared, if it could be called a face. The alien had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, each one a deep purple that seemed to shimmer with intelligence. Its skin was a pale blue-gray, marked with intricate patterns that might have been natural or artificial. When it spoke, its mandibles clicked and moved in complex patterns. "I am Admiral Ta of the Stellar Federation," the alien announced, its words perfectly translated into every Earth language simultaneously. "We have monitored your world for some time now." Commander Han felt a chill run down his spine. How long had they been watching? What had they seen? "Our surveillance has revealed something deeply troubling," Admiral Ta continued, its upper eyes narrowing. "You possess a biological weapon of unprecedented power. Our analysts call it the Beast. We have observed it in action, witnessed its capacity for violence, its ability to hunt and kill." The confusion in the chamber was palpable. Biological weapon. The major powers had long ago banned such research. What could the aliens be talking about? In the interest of galactic security, Admiral Tay's voice grew harder. "We demand the immediate surrender of all specimens of the Beast and any related research materials. You have 6 Earth hours to comply." The alien's 4 eyes flashed with barely contained menace. "Should you refuse, or attempt to deceive us, we will have no choice but to consider your entire species a threat to galactic peace. The consequences would be severe." General Dewey exchanged bewildered looks with his colleagues. Around the chamber, representatives whispered urgently to their staff, trying to determine if their nation had somehow developed a secret weapon without others knowing. Commander Han pulled up classified reports on his tablet, scanning through decades of military intelligence. Nothing matched what the aliens were describing. What could be so powerful that it had attracted the attention of an advanced alien civilization? "Admiral," Dewey spoke carefully, "there seems to be some misunderstanding. Could you provide more specific information about this weapon you've observed?" The alien's mandibles clicked in what might have been annoyance. "Do not play games, human. We have extensive footage of your forces deploying these creatures in combat situations. Their speed, strength, and savagery are unlike anything we've encountered in the galaxy." Creatures. The word choice sent ripples of confusion through the chamber. What kind of biological weapon would be described as a creature? The view screen suddenly split, showing several video clips. The council chamber fell silent as they watched, and slowly, understanding began to dawn on a few faces. In each clip, they saw military and police forces in action, but the aliens weren't focused on the human officers. Their footage centered on something else entirely. something that would soon turn this first contact from a potential disaster into one of the most remarkable misunderstandings in human history. But for now, the clock was ticking. 6 hours to explain something so fundamental to human civilization that most people rarely even thought about it. 6 hours to prevent an interstellar war over humanity's oldest and most loyal companion. Security Chief Ji Woo sat in her dimly lit office, surrounded by holographic displays showing the alien surveillance footage. Her initial tension had given way to an amused smile as she pieced together the incredible misunderstanding that had brought Earth to the brink of interstellar war. The footage played in sequence: a German shepherd scaling a 6-foot wall in pursuit of a suspect, a Belgian Malinois locating survivors in earthquake rubble, police dogs subduing armed criminals with precision and speed. Through alien eyes, she could almost understand their terror. Without context, these creatures must have seemed like perfectly engineered killing machines. "Play segment 47 again," she instructed her assistant. The hologram flickered, showing a military working dog breaching a training compound. The alien annotations appeared in glowing text, analyzing muscle density, bite force, and speed. They had clearly spent months studying these weapons, but had completely missed their true nature. Jitwoo gathered her findings and headed to the emergency council session. The massive chamber was thick with tension as representatives from world governments argued about the alien ultimatum. The timer on the main screen showed less than 4 hours remaining. "I've identified what they're looking for," she announced, her voice cutting through the chaos. The room fell silent as she transferred the footage to the main display. "They're not talking about some secret biological weapon. They're talking about our dogs." Confused murmurs filled the chamber. An American general laughed, then stopped when he realized she was serious. "Look at their analysis," Jiwoo continued, highlighting the alien text. "They've documented every military and police K-9 unit on Earth. They've studied their capabilities, their training, their deployment. But they've completely missed the fundamental nature of these animals." She played a compilation of the alien footage, now annotated with her own observations. "See how they've categorized everything. Bite force is labeled as primary attack mechanism. Pack behavior is listed as tactical coordination. They've even classified different breeds as specialized combat variants." The Russian representative leaned forward. "Are you saying they think we engineered dogs as weapons?" "Exactly," Jiwoo nodded. "From their perspective, they've discovered a species that can outrun most prey, track targets across impossible terrain, coordinate complex attacks, and show absolute loyalty to their handlers. They think we've created the perfect biological weapon." The Chinese delegate raised an eyebrow. "But surely they must have seen ordinary pet dogs as well." Jiwoo played another clip, a family playing with their golden retriever in a park. The alien annotations were fascinating. Civilian infiltration unit, psychological warfare variant, stealth configuration. "They think we've disguised our weapons as pets," she explained. "In their minds, we've developed these creatures for both combat and covert operations. They believe we're hiding an army of bioengineered super predators in plain sight." The absurdity of the situation began to sink in. Humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization, and they were terrified of Labrador retrievers and German shepherds. "We need to explain this to them carefully," Jiwoo cautioned. "Remember, they've never encountered anything like the human-dog relationship before. They don't understand the concept of domestication, of turning a predator species into a companion over thousands of years." She pulled up one final piece of footage: a military working dog after a successful mission, playing with a tennis ball while its handler laughed. The alien annotations showed confusion, unable to reconcile the deadly efficiency they'd witnessed with this display of playful affection. "This is our chance," Jiwoo said. "We need to show them the truth about humanity's oldest friendship. And maybe, just maybe, they'll understand that what they've seen isn't a weapon of war, but something far more remarkable, a bond of trust and love that spans millennia." The council chamber buzzed with renewed purpose. They had 3 hours to prevent an interstellar war by explaining dogs to aliens who had never experienced the simple joy of a wagging tail or a wet nose nudging their hand. The fate of Earth now rested on humanity's ability to share one of its greatest achievements: turning wolves into friends. The grand meeting hall of the UN headquarters had been transformed for this historic encounter. Sunlight streamed through bulletproof windows, illuminating the tense faces of Earth's representatives and the towering figures of the alien delegation. Officer Sunma stood quietly at the entrance, one hand resting gently on Bomb's head, waiting for their cue. Bomb, a 9-year-old German shepherd with distinguished gray around his muzzle, sat calmly beside her. His police service days were behind him, but his training showed in his perfect posture and alert eyes. Sunmai could feel his tail softly thumping against her leg, a steady rhythm that helped calm her own nerves. Admiral Ta dominated the center of the room, his 4 eyes scanning constantly for threats. The alien leader stood nearly 7 feet tall, flanked by guards whose armor seemed to shift colors like oil on water. When Security Chief Ji Woo signaled, Sun Mi took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Admiral, with your permission, I'd like to introduce you to one of our retired service dogs," she said clearly, her voice carrying across the silent chamber. The alien leader's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. They'd learned. "You would bring one of your weapons directly into these negotiations." The translation carried both disbelief and warning. "This is Bomb," Sun Mi continued steadily. "He served with our police force for 7 years. Now he lives with my family." She touched the gray fur around Bomb's muzzle. "He's enjoying his retirement." Admiral Tai recoiled as Bomb trotted forward, tail wagging in friendly greeting. The alien guards raised their weapons, but the Admiral waved them down, 4 eyes fixed intently on the dog. This is your dreaded beast." The Admiral's voice carried genuine confusion. "Our analysis showed these creatures taking down armed opponents, tracking targets across impossible terrain, coordinating complex tactical maneuvers." Sun Mi smiled. "Would you like to see some of Bomb's training?" At the Admiral's cautious nod, she turned to her companion. "Bomb, sit." The dog immediately complied, looking up at her with bright eyes. Sun Mai went through basic commands: stay, lie down, roll over. Each time, Bomb responded with cheerful enthusiasm, clearly enjoying the attention. The alien delegation watched in stunned silence as this supposedly terrifying weapon performed tricks for treats, his tail never stopping its happy motion. When Bomb offered his paw to shake, Admiral Tay's mandibles spread in what might have been the alien equivalent of a shocked smile. "But we saw them in combat," one of the alien scientists protested. "The speed, the power, the coordination with human handlers." "May I?" Sun Mai asked, reaching slowly into her pocket. She withdrew Bomb's favorite tennis ball. The reaction was immediate. Bomb's ears perked up, his entire body quivering with excitement. She tossed the ball across the room. Bomb exploded into motion, showing the speed and grace that had so impressed the alien observers. But instead of the deadly weapon they expected, they saw a joyful creature bounding back with his prize, dropping it at Sun Mi's feet with a hopeful look. The same attributes that make dogs excellent working partners, their intelligence, loyalty, and physical capabilities, come from their natural desire to work with humans, Sun Mai explained, throwing the ball again. "We didn't engineer these traits. We formed a partnership with dogs thousands of years ago, and they chose to help us." Admiral Ta moved closer, watching as Bomb retrieved the ball again. "You're saying this relationship is voluntary?" "Completely." Sun Mi scratched behind Bomb's ears, earning a look of pure contentment. "Would you like to try throwing the ball?" The entire room held its breath as the alien leader carefully took the tennis ball. Bomb sat perfectly still, watching the ball with focused attention. When Admiral Tai threw it, somewhat awkwardly with his different joint structure, Bomb waited for Sun Mi's quiet "okay" before racing after it. The sight of Earth's most feared biological weapon playing fetch with the alien admiral would later become one of the most famous images in human history. But in that moment, Sunlight was simply watching what she'd seen thousands of times before. The power of a dog's simple, honest joy to break down barriers and open hearts, even if those hearts belong to beings from across the stars. The sun shone brightly over Seoul's Central Park as Admiral Tai and Commander Han watched a scene that challenged everything the alien leader thought he knew. Children ran and played with dogs of all sizes and breeds. A tiny girl hugging a massive Saint Bernard, a boy playing fetch with an energetic border collie, a group of kids being gently herded by a patient Australian shepherd. "Impossible," Admiral Ta muttered, his 4 eyes tracking each interaction with intense focus. How can these creatures switch so effortlessly between fierce protectors and gentle playmates? Our analysis showed them subduing armed threats, yet here they are, allowing small humans to pull their tails. Commander Han smiled, remembering his own childhood dog. "What you're seeing is the result of over 30,000 years of partnership. Dogs were once wolves, wild predators. But they chose to join us, and we chose to welcome them." A golden retriever bounded past, chasing soap bubbles blown by a laughing toddler. The alien leader's mandibles clicked rapidly. A gesture they'd learned indicated deep thought. "Tell me more about this partnership," Admiral Ta requested, settling onto a park bench, designed to accommodate his unusual physiology. "It started with food," Han explained, watching a hot dog vendor share a piece of sausage with a hopeful beagle. Early humans and wolves realized they could help each other hunt. The wolves that were friendlier toward humans got more food. Over generations, they changed, not just in appearance, but in their very nature. A police K-9 unit walked past on patrol, the German shepherd alert but calm as children waved at it. Admiral Ta's eyes followed the dog, but this time with curiosity rather than fear. The same instincts that made them excellent hunters, their intelligence, their ability to read body language, their pack mentality, made them perfect partners. They learned to understand us, and we learned to understand them. Han pointed to a therapy dog wearing a bright vest, visiting with elderly parkgoers. "They can sense our emotions, Admiral. They know when we're sad, scared, or in danger. And they choose to help us, not because we engineered them to, but because that's the relationship we've built together." The alien leader watched as a search and rescue team conducted a training exercise nearby. The dog moved with the same precision and power that had so alarmed their surveillance teams, but now Admiral Ta saw something different in the way it looked back at its handler for guidance and praise. "Your reports called them perfect biological weapons," Han continued, "but you were seeing only one aspect of their capabilities. Dogs help us find lost people, detect diseases, guide the blind, comfort the sick, and protect our homes. But most importantly, they love us." Love. The alien word came out uncertainly, the translation struggling with the concept. A small Pomeranian chose that moment to approach Admiral Ta, wagging its tail and offering a tiny paw. The alien leader froze, all 4 eyes fixed on this tiny creature that showed no fear of his imposing presence. "They give us their loyalty freely," Han said softly, watching the interaction. "Every day, they choose to be our companions, our helpers, our protectors. Not because we control them, but because over thousands of years, we've built a bond of trust and affection that goes beyond mere genetics or training." Admiral Ta carefully extended one of his lower hands. The Pomeranian sniffed it, then gave it a small lick before trotting back to its owner. The alien leader stared at his hand for a long moment. "In all our explorations," he finally said, "we've never encountered anything like this. A predator species that voluntarily allies itself with another, that can maintain its hunting abilities while developing such gentleness." His mandibles moved in a new pattern they hadn't seen before. "Perhaps we have much to learn from Earth after all." They sat in companionable silence, watching the endless dance of humans and dogs enjoying the sunny afternoon. What had begun as a terrifying first contact was transforming into something neither species had expected. A lesson in the power of friendship that transcended not just species but worlds. The UN's Peace Garden bloomed with spring flowers, their delicate scents mixing with the alien spices that seemed to follow Admiralty's delegation. The garden had been chosen carefully for this moment, a neutral space where both species might find common ground. Sunma sat on a stone bench, bomb alert but relaxed at her feet. The retired police dog had become an unexpected ambassador between worlds, his gentle nature slowly breaking down the aliens' fear and misconceptions. Admiral Tai approached alone, having insisted his guards remain at a distance. His towering frame cast a long shadow in the afternoon sun, but his movements were deliberately slow and careful. The alien leader had spent days studying Earth's dogs, learning their body language and behaviors. "Officer Sunmi," he greeted, his translator conveying respect. "May I interact with Bomb again?" She nodded, giving Bomb a subtle hand signal. The German shepherd rose smoothly, his tail wagging in gentle welcome. Sun Mai watched proudly as her partner approached the alien with perfect manners. Confident but not aggressive, friendly but not overwhelming. Bomb stopped a few feet from Admiral Tai, sitting down and tilting his head in that uniquely canine expression of interest. The alien leader slowly lowered himself to one knee, matching the dog's height in a gesture he'd learned showed respect. "Your body temperature is very different from humans," Sun Mai explained as Bomb began sniffing the Admiral's hand. "He's learning about you through scent. Dogs can tell so much from just a few sniffs: your health, your emotions, where you've been." Admiral Tai remained perfectly still as Bomb's investigation continued. The dog's tail wagged faster as he picked up traces of the alien food the Admiral had shared with Earth's diplomats, the metal of his ship, the strange flowers from his homeworld. Then, in a moment that would be remembered in both species' histories, Bomb gently licked the Admiral's hand. The alien leader's 4 eyes widened in surprise, but he didn't pull away. "That means he likes you," Sun Mai said softly. "He's choosing to show affection." "Remarkable," Admiral Ta whispered, his mandibles moving in that new pattern they'd started to recognize as wonder. "We had it all wrong. We saw their strength and assumed violence. We saw their intelligence and assumed manipulation. But this..." He carefully raised another hand, looking at Sunmi for permission. She demonstrated the proper way to scratch behind a dog's ears. Within moments, the fearsome admiral of the Stellar Federation was giving Bomb exactly what the old police dog wanted, his expression showing pure amazement as the dog leaned into his touch with obvious pleasure. "On my world," Admiral Ta said quietly, "we have machines for everything these creatures do. Security, detection, assistance. But they're just tools. This is something else entirely." Bomb flopped onto his side, exposing his belly in the ultimate display of trust. The alien leader's hand stilled in surprise. "He's showing you that he trusts you completely," Sun Mai explained. "It's a very vulnerable position for a dog. They only do this with those they feel safe around." The garden was silent except for the soft sound of Bomb's tail thumping against the grass. The mighty alien leader who had arrived ready for war was now sitting on the ground, gently petting a dog who had decided he was a friend. "In all our studies of Earth," Admiral Ta said finally, "we never understood what made humans different from other species we've encountered. We saw your technology, your cities, your conflicts. But this..." He gestured to Bomb, who was now dozing contentedly under his touch. "This ability to form true partnerships with another species, to earn their trust and loyalty through kindness rather than control, this is what makes your people unique." Sunmi smiled, watching as her former police partner continued to charm the alien leader. What had started as a terrifying misunderstanding was transforming into something beautiful, proof that the capacity for friendship could bridge even the vast distances between stars. "Perhaps," Admiral Ta mused, still scratching Bomb's ears, We have more to learn from Earth than we realized, and perhaps it will be your four-legged friends who teach us the most important lessons of all. The Busan Interstellar K-9 Training Academy gleamed in the morning sun, its modern architecture blending Earth and alien design elements. Training fields stretched across the seaside campus, where both human and alien instructors worked with the first class of Stellar Federation handlers. Admiral Ta stood on the observation platform, all four eyes focused on the training session below. A tall alien cadet was learning the basics of clicker training with a young German shepherd, his movements careful and precise. The dog responded with enthusiasm, clearly enjoying working with her unusual partner. Their biochemistry is so different from ours, the Academy's chief instructor explained to Commander Han. But dogs don't seem to care. They're adapting to alien sense and body language even faster than we expected. The training grounds buzzed with activity. Some aliens worked with traditional police breeds: German shepherds, Belgian Malinois, Dutch shepherds. Others had bonded with search and rescue specialists like border collies and Labrador retrievers. Each pair represented a small miracle of cross-species cooperation. "Watch this," the instructor said proudly, pointing to a demonstration area. An alien handler and his Malinois were performing a complex search pattern. The dog moved with perfect precision, but what caught everyone's attention was the obvious joy both handler and dog took in working together. Admiral Tay's mandibles clicked in what they now recognize as pleasure. "When we first saw these animals in action, we thought them weapons. Now I understand. They're teachers." Commander Han nodded. "They're teaching your people about partnership, trust, and communication. Things that can't be learned from machines or manuals." A group of alien cadets was learning about puppy development in the adjacent field. They sat on the ground, a shocking sight for such dignified beings, while golden retriever puppies crawled over them, teaching lessons about gentleness and patience no instructor could convey. "We've had to adapt our training methods," the instructor explained. "Alien body language is different. Their voices work differently. Even their walking pace is different. But the dogs are helping us bridge those gaps. They're natural diplomats." Admiral Ta watched as an alien cadet celebrated her dog's successful completion of an agility course. The handler's normally rigid movements had softened, becoming almost human-like in her excitement. "They're changing us," the Admiral mused. "Not just the handlers, but our entire understanding of cooperation. On my world, we sought to control everything through technology. But these creatures..." He gestured to where a therapy dog was helping a nervous alien cadet overcome their fear of Earth animals. "They teach us that true partnership cannot be programmed or engineered." The graduation ceremony was scheduled for sunset. Rows of alien handlers stood proudly with their dogs, representing dozens of worlds across the Stellar Federation. Each pair had spent months learning to work together, overcoming biological and cultural barriers through patience and trust. Admiral Tai addressed the graduates, his voice carrying across the academy grounds. "When we first came to Earth, we thought we had discovered a terrible weapon. Instead, we found something far more powerful, a model for how different species can work together in harmony." After the ceremony, as handlers and dogs demonstrated their new skills for visiting dignitaries, Admiral Tai turned to Commander Han with an almost shy expression. "Perhaps," he said, watching a group of puppies playing nearby, "you could help me select one of my own. I find myself missing their company when I return to my ship." Commander Han smiled, recognizing the familiar look of someone whose life was about to be changed by 4 paws and a wagging tail. "I know just the breed for you, Admiral. Have you ever met a golden retriever?" The Academy's first year had begun with fear and misunderstanding. It ended with the leader of an alien fleet learning about the joy of puppy kisses and the knowledge that sometimes the greatest discoveries come not from advanced technology, but from a simple act of friendship between two very different species. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with activity as representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered for the annual meeting. Admiral Ta stood at the podium, his ceremonial robes gleaming under the stellar lights. At his feet lay Mai, his golden retriever, sleeping peacefully despite the historic significance of the moment. The sight of a high-ranking Federation official with a dog had become common across the galaxy. Mai's golden fur contrasted beautifully with the Admiral's blue-gray skin, and their obvious bond had inspired countless others to explore the unique relationship between humans and dogs. 1 year ago, Admiral Ta began, his voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. We nearly made a terrible mistake. We mistook Earth's greatest friends for weapons of war. Today, I stand before you to celebrate how that misunderstanding led to the most significant diplomatic breakthrough in Federation history. Holographic displays showed scenes from across the galaxy, alien children learning responsibility by caring for their first puppies, elderly beings finding companionship with gentle therapy dogs, search and rescue teams on distant worlds saving lives with their four-legged partners. Dogs have taught us what our advanced technology could not, the Admiral continued, reaching down to scratch Mai's ears as she stirred. They've shown us that true strength lies not in domination, but in trust. Not in control, but in cooperation. Back on Earth, Sun Mai and Jiwoo sat in the same park where they had first introduced Admiral Ta to dogs. The scene before them would have been unimaginable a year ago. Alien families playing with their dogs alongside human ones, the differences between species forgotten in the simple joy of throwing a ball or giving belly rubs. Who would have thought, Sun Mai mused, watching an alien child teaching their Labrador new tricks, that dogs would be the key to interstellar peace. Jiwoo smiled, remembering the tense days when they'd first discovered what had brought the alien fleet to Earth. They've always been teaching us important lessons. Now they're just teaching the whole galaxy. A group of alien diplomats walked past, each accompanied by their canine companions. There were elegant Salukis, sturdy Rottweilers, clever border collies, each breed finding new ways to bridge the gap between worlds. The Galactic Dog Show had become one of the most prestigious events in the Federation calendar. Alien breeding programs worked carefully with Earth experts to maintain the health and temperament of dog populations on new worlds. Universities across the galaxy had established xenoveterinary programs to ensure proper care for dogs in different planetary conditions. But perhaps most importantly, the presence of dogs had begun to change alien societies themselves. Species that had relied purely on logic and technology for millennia were rediscovering the value of emotional connections. Worlds that had been historical enemies found common ground in their shared love of these remarkable creatures. In the Galactic Council chamber, Admiral Ta concluded his speech. Mai had woken and sat alertly at his side, her tail wagging gently as she watched her friend address the assembly. "We came to Earth looking for weapons," the Admiral said softly. "Instead, we found teachers of love, loyalty, and friendship. These beings we once feared have shown us that the greatest power in the universe isn't found in advanced technology or military might, but in the simple act of opening our hearts to another species." He reached down to ruffle Mai's fur, no longer conscious of how this casual display of affection would once have shocked his people. Earth has given the galaxy many gifts, but none greater than the friendship of dogs. They are living proof that love and trust can bridge any distance, even the vast spaces between stars. As if to emphasize his point, Mai stood and offered her paw to the nearest council member, drawing chuckles from the assembled delegates. The gesture, once seen as a trained behavior, was now recognized across the galaxy as a symbol of friendship freely given. In thousands of homes on hundreds of worlds, humans and aliens alike were learning what Earth had known for millennia: that sometimes the greatest teachers come with 4 legs, a wagging tail, and an endless capacity for love. The age of interstellar isolation was over, replaced by a new era of cooperation and understanding, all thanks to humanity's oldest and truest friends.